So this is all about customer data, first party data, how you, when you select the platform, just think about the other factors as well. Very careful about the privacy on the first party data. Look at the big players what they are doing. 2026 strategy needs to be centralizing. Hello everyone, welcome to Performance Spot by APIDM. If I ask you what the most important thing in your business, you will probably say your customers, and it is absolutely correct. But here is the real question: do you value your customer data as much as your customers themselves? Today we are going to discuss about customer data. Jadu, let's start. Yes, so customer data, some call first party data, some call different names, right? Based on, some people call as leads, purchase data, etc. Right? So it varies business to business, but end of the day, a business that owns its valued business results or purchases or leads or whatever, it's end of the day, it's first party data, whether they can use for growing their revenue. That's how I look at it. Okay. We're going to discuss about what is the importance. So the thing that why we took this topic today, or discussion, or what sort of things that people or the digital marketers needs to do, is we discuss about this on the 2026 video series, right? So we wanted to have a detailed session on customer data, and if you missed the 2026 series, the 2026 what are the things digital marketers, performance marketers needs to look video, we will be linking on the right top corner. Just have a look and leave your comments what we have missed or what you think that 2026 would be. So that's on the 2026 video. On 2026, one of the things which we discuss is customer data. First, okay, on customer data or the first party data, I would like to talk about the most important things is privacy regulations, right? Yeah. The industry or the digital marketing industry, it's not like each and every region have its regulatory bodies. The GDPR, EU, UK, and data privacy policy. Australia have its Australian Act, and then Californian Act. Different regions have its different acts. So based on that only, you need to collect and store your first party data. That you need to make sure. If you are not following those rules, you might end up in legal actions. People can do, if you, example, let's take an example. There are many use cases, many problems that we have read about. I read about last year in Denmark or somewhere, a pharmaceutical had done remarketing using first party data. Person have purchased, then they have pushed some remarketing advertising using some other platforms. Yeah. So that person have filed a case against that pharmaceutical. So it can go, and then I read it's something around 10,000 pounds or then 10,000 crowns or something have been charged for that pharmaceutical. So very careful about the customer data that you are collecting. What we call it as consent. When you say, some people comes back to us and say, or when I have a chat, if they are purchasing, they are agreeing it. If you are not telling what are the purpose when they are purchasing, when they are submitting the purchase, final purchase on an e-commerce site or booking or whatever, if you are not talking about what are the things that you're gonna use their information, whether you gonna share with your partner, whether you're gonna use it for marketing activity, or you gonna use for some research, or you're gonna use for forecasting, these things needs to be clearly mentioned on your privacy policy, or whether where the place you collect it. It's normally have a checkbox or something and say I'm agreeing for this XYZ company's privacy policy, something that you have to communicate. That's one on the first party data or customer data when you collect. Yeah. Very careful about the privacy on the first party data. This is one. I would like to leave it to you. Anything that you want to add it on the first party data?
Jatu. So When it comes to first party data and GDPR and different regulations, Jatu, I think this is something for our audience as well. It's necessary to have that education, right? Because there are a lot of free resources available, free courses available as well. Something, some from some reputed universities as well,
Yeah,
right? They launch some courses, free courses. Definitely, you can follow them,
right,
right? And get some better understanding about these rules and regulations, because that's very important if you are going to advertise in 2026 with these strict regulations, right? And the other thing is, when you target some developed markets, right? So the, like, as an example, USA, maybe UK, right? So they have some really really strict rules when it comes to first party data and customer data. They really care about it, right? So then you need to have that education, because sometimes when you hand over your data to another party, right, to handle the advertising, handle the campaigns, right, probably there should be a way, a proper way of hand over your data to someone, because you are playing with someone's personally identifiable information.
right.
That's very important, because recently one of my friends got a call from an insurance company, and mentioning his baby's name, right? That's very important, right? So because I think now he is around like only 6 months maybe, right? Mentioning his baby's name, right? That person asked about trying to selling
Insurance.
insurance policy or
Okay.
something like that, right? So that's very important. So that can really really impact the perception over your business as
Business.
well, right? So just learn this thing, that's very important. Resources are available, right? If you want to learn GDPR, there are plenty of resources available, right?
Right.
And if you want to target different markets, again, yeah, so sometimes when you log into your Google ad accounts, right, these days, like when you target the markets like USA or EU region, right, probably you can see that banner EU political regulations, right?
Yeah.
If you are trying to run
Political ads.
political campaigns targeting European region, right? Maybe if you have your ad account registered under USA, still you will see that message, right? So they really care about these policies and things, and it's very important to have that education as well.
Yeah, and then one of the points when you're talking about the people trust, right? So right now, one is regulatory legal activities that we're gonna that is one that a business needs to think about. And another thing is the current world is not like 10-15 years ago, right? People aware about these things.
Yeah.
If they when they get an SMS, when they get an email, when they get a WhatsApp message, they know how this is reaching.
Yeah.
So the awareness about this, the customers, the people who buy with you, aware about what is happening. So make sure you inform them what the purpose that you are collecting. That's you're building a trust. Legal regulatory bodies, those are different. Privacy concern, these are different. The next is building a trust is very important, that you need to inform the customer. Okay.
Yeah.
We will move from the regulatories and the legal actions, the privacy concern. Then one of the other things, most importantly on the customer data or the first party data, um, how I used to see is what happened is, um, businesses collect in different places.
Yeah.
I have seen e-commerce will have one CRM, and then the physical store will have another invoice system,
Yeah.
and then the activation group will have another collection point, and the lead generation sales will have its own
Maybe an Excel sheet.
yeah, Excel sheet, something like. So it's different platform that they use
Yeah.
to collect the first party data. It can be converted, or it can be lead, it can be potential. but it's not centralized. You might, the 2026, it needs to be one CDP platform, customer data platform, or CRM, whatever you call it. Make sure you centralize it, bring everything to one platform, and then you have segments. This is potential customers, this is leads, this is converted, this is high value customer, this is repeated customer. So you have statuses, rules, segment them, which will help you down the line. We will discuss about segmenting part, but before going into the marketing activity, I'm talking about collecting and bringing them to a centralized place, one
100%.
CDP from 2026. Okay, one of the other things is when this first party data started booming up, or the revolution started, people, the businesses started collecting, is if you look at the proper history, or the when this started, the bigger businesses started long time back, but actually it started back in 2020, 2019, 2020, 2021. The reason is that's the time that the browsers started blocking cookies, so the tracking, the marketing,
iOS update.
yeah, so these are the things that started restricting the marketing activities. Because of that only, people started collecting first party data. The businesses started, digital marketers and the marketing teams, everyone started collecting first party data. But what happened from 2021 to 2025, it's on all over the place. So the 2026 strategy needs to be centralizing one CDP platform, which can be high costly, but if it is cheaper one, if you, based on the numbers, you choose a cheaper platform and then bring it to one place. This is one that I wanted to, after the privacy, this is one next that we have to think about. Yes.
Yeah, just so basically, as you mentioned about the platforms and the selection, right? I think it's really important to think about the compatibility as well when you select the platform, right? So there are some platforms that you can buy at a very lower cost, but when it comes to the compatibility, right, you will not find that most of the features, like definitely when you collect data, customer data, end of the day, one of the main purposes, one of the main reasons of collecting those data is, we can directly use them for advertising, maybe when we create audiences. But there are some platforms at a very lower cost, but they won't support most of the integrations, right? You will face a lot of issues. Sometimes you have to spend money behind some another third party tools to create that integration between different platforms, right? So when you select your CRM platforms, yes, the primary factor is your cost, right? Definitely we have to think about it, but you have to think about features as well. Sometimes some tools, some CRM platforms, they have already created flows, already created templates, features and integrations. Just one click will be enough to connect your CRM to multiple different platforms, or maybe segmentation. And when you are segmenting your database, the pool, that will be really important. Otherwise, that won't save your time and money, right? So when you select the platform, just think about other factors as well, not only the cost.
Right. And one of the word that triggers me up or to talk about that is you talk about the flows, right? So these CDPs and CRMs need to have flow, and you need to create different flows: subscription flow, purchase flow, that automation, customer data, leads comes in, nurturing flow, sales teams emails when they visit back. These are like few things that everyone does. But one of the things that most of the digital marketers miss is, I used to call it as sunset flow, or never engage, unengaged, right? So we need to kill certain customers or contacts that's been collected, or a person, how can I put it up in a simple manner? Let's say you are a kids clothing store. Online you are selling it, right? On the kids clothing store, right? Say you have a age zero month to 5 years, right? So if a parent coming and buying on online on your e-commerce store, and then you collect him as a first party data, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened is, if your business is 10 years old, 15 years old, and if you have the same person who have purchased back in 2012, 2011 and all, what would happen is you are paying unnecessarily for that tool to keep that email. So that's one, right? Based on your customer life cycle, you need to keep him, right? That is one example that I. And then some other things like, say for an example, some people change numbers, some people inboxes um, full with storage, so it bounds. Some people found another competitor or not interested in your product. Maybe they are not opening. So you need to have automations to send them send out from your CDP platform, because which is very important, because end of the day you pay for the tool subscription unwantedly. So you need to kill the customers or the first party data that is not useful for you. That is very important. That is have to be looked at, right?
Exactly. So I think that's directly related to the data quality.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, sometimes we have data, outdated data. Sometimes they are not in our territory, in our scope at the moment, but still we have those. Having those data is really important, because sometimes there are cases that we can utilize those information as well.
Right.
But when it comes to targeting, and when it comes to the advertising and platform integrations, I 100% agree with you. Like, definitely we have to evaluate, we have to relook at our data time to time and clear everything, right? And have a very quality data. So the data quality is very important. And also when you collect data as well, sometimes people submit wrong information, right? Something that we can't avoid, right? Because they can submit whatever they want. But with the other systems like OTPs and everything, now we can control it. But still, we have that,
capabilities to automate.
Exactly. But if you relook at data, if you look at their life cycle, I mean the total lifetime sales or the recurring purchases, right? You will be able to identify that high valued customer segments, right? High valued different clusters, right? So then we can categorize them and target them accordingly. Yeah.
And then when it comes to one of the other things is, I normally talk about this customer data into zero party data, first party data, and second party data. Third party data we don't need to go for right now. That's a different one. But how you can make your first party data as a zero party data, or when you collect itself, you need to make it as zero party. I would like to give what is the zero party, first party data and second party data. The zero party data is something you have let's say additional information or additional interest about that first party data. So first party data is someone leaving an information on a transaction, on a contact, or on a interaction with your business. That's what the first party data. But the zero party data is some certain level of information beyond your first party data. Say, how to put it up, say, let's say for an example, a person who is buying on a sports shop, a person who is buying shoes, you try to ask a question saying what sports you like or what sports you play. That gives you more information. So if it is a sports shop, then you know what is the product or what is the equipment that you can sell for him. That is what the zero party data is about. And then moving to the first party data I explained, and then moving to the second party data, second party customer data. What is it is how it is comes is, say for an example, you go with a partnership with someone. Say for an example, the same sports shop, right, sells the data to a gym, right, because it's a sports shop. people are athletics, people are interested in fitness and all those things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then with the concern being given on the collecting point, they sell it to a gym, right? They sold it to a gym to promote the gym, newly opened gym, or other way around, a gym membership data or something being sold to a say, let's say, to the sports shop to
yeah.
sell their gym capable shoes or something, a
Mm.
product that is coming in. This is one. And then earlier example that you talked about, insurance and a baby, right? It should
Yeah.
have been sold from a hospital that have been the baby have been born, right? So
Exactly.
that is wrong, that they should have given a concern, but it might be hidden. That's
Yeah.
where this privacy comes in. Those hidden agreements, hidden agree buttons, not gonna work on the future because people are becoming aware about it, right?
Yeah.
So they will start hating both the brands,
Mm.
right? The person who have purchased, person who
100%.
have sold also, or
Yeah.
partnership, whatever you could do, whatever you say it. So both the brands will get a bad name. So make sure what you're doing. So this is like first party, second party data, zero party, first party, second party data. I'm not going to the third party. We will have a third party data separately.
Yeah.
So this is a categorization or understanding about customer data in a different point of view.
Yeah.
All right. You put
Yeah,
that.
so as you mentioned, zero party data, Jadu, so that's very important when it comes I think that will be the next phase of this journey, right?
Right.
Because um, from third party data to second party data, now we have the real value of first party data, but in future that
It-
will be zero party data.
Right.
Because like when you have first party data, Jadu, I think we can collect zero party data as well, maybe through different researchers, maybe from forms or whatever the
Surveys.
data surveys, yeah, data collection methods, right? Maybe even you can talk to your customers and ask their preferences, right, and record them. Most of the times what we do is we ask preferences, right? Most when we let's say during that conversion process, let's say, or offline store, right? So during that conversion process, right, so there will be a conversation between the seller and the buyer. Sometimes we will be able to identify some important things within that conversation itself, right? But usually we don't record them, right? So we record the customer information, maybe the phone number, maybe their email addresses, the value and everything under our POA system or whatever CRM system.
Right.
But the context is not there,
Okay.
right? But if as a business, if you can collect the context, right, if you can identify the real need of that customer and other things as well related to your product, right, within the conversation, maybe you can ask directly. I think no one will oppose, like no one will
Sure.
blame you about asking those information, right? You can ask information, not just ask information, record them, right? Have a kind of small record under your customer data field. That will be really important.
Maybe a small strategy, give away a small offering or something.
Exactly.
Then they will able to fill it.
100%.
It's a strategy that needs to come from the brand to brand, but maybe a percentage of offer or maybe a giveaway or something. We will able to collect the information.
Yeah.
One of the other thing is the most scary part, or the industry or the digital marketers are scared and the business owners are scared about is they don't do this. Most of the businesses have enough first party data,
Yeah.
right? But they don't connect with advertising platforms.
Yeah.
To some people are scared to connect with the CDP, even that's a different story. But some of the people are very scared to connect with advertising platforms like Meta, Facebook
Google.
ads and Google ads, or even with different other
Yeah.
platform, mail campaigns,
Pragmatic,
mailing
yeah.
tools. They are very scared because they think that those people can see it, or the agency who is doing it see it. If you are not properly segmenting and then uploading to these or connecting to these advertising platforms. If you're advertising on these platforms, you are not going to get results on these platforms. These platforms are moving towards more signals that you give. If you can't tell that who have purchased within last 15 days, last 30 days, if you are trying to find new customers, the platforms won't be able to find you new customers.
Yeah.
You need to exclude the existing customers. You need to make lookalike customers, etc., to feed these platforms, right?
Yeah.
And then one of the other things is on the first party data, uh, the digital marketers, the business owners, the next step, maybe in a 2 years time, maybe end of the year, the predictive part, predictive analysis, predictive data can be figured out by these platforms, and there are a lot of automations, predictive tools are coming up. So you will able to predict if you have your customer purchase data for the last couple of years, then you can use different predictive tools to figure out what's going to happen on your this time, or what you need to do for your marketing activities. These are the things that you need to use on your for customer data or first party data, what you have in your internal systems.
Yeah, exactly. Jadu, as you mentioned about the customer segmentation part using CRMs, so we can see some businesses, they already do this, right? So segment their customers after getting sales, or maybe different basis, maybe based on their product categories, or maybe some other things, right? So other factors, they segment their customers. But when it comes to targeting, or maybe when it comes to the messaging part, right, the creative and the copy and everything, we cannot see that segmentation, right? Sometimes they target everything. When it comes to remarketing campaigns, if you go inside the campaign and inside the ad set, you will find almost all the audiences being added to the ad set, right? And target with a very general advertisement. So that's not the real retarget, that's not the proper. Maybe if you have a very lower amount of first party data, that's completely fine, because you don't have any other solutions, right? If you have a very lower amount of first party data, right, just using everything together is the best solution. But when you have a significant amount of first party data, and with a real categorization, a real breakdown, you can do a lot of things, right? You can segment it, you can personalize your ads and target the right person clearly, right? So I think that's something they should think about.
Yeah, the businesses,
not only the target, segmentation.
The businesses needs to think about messaging for first party customer, first party data, or the customer data. So what happened is, okay, I'll take an example, right? So if you take your inbox SMS, still the business are not figured out the WhatsApp part. Certain businesses are coming into the WhatsApp right now because the charges are high. Because of that, businesses are not gone into the WhatsApp marketing. But the SMS, right? If you take your SMS inbox, how can I call it? It's an inbox or something, right? So you would see from same brand continuously every Tuesday that is coming in. But if someone who knows the customer data, who know how to segment it, if they could have understand the killing part and segmenting part, if a proper way, or if a best practices, if you could have segment, okay, this month you send on Tuesday saying some etc. messages. If you could have next Tuesday, if you could have send it to the people who have opened it, more personalized. Here you have checked on last Friday, didn't purchase it. And then if you could have added 5% or 10% extra for the third Tuesday, right? The person who have opened it, I'm just giving a Tuesday example, nothing to talk about any brand, right? So,
but we all know it.
It's up to the person who's listening, figuring out. So it's keep on coming. It's not segmented, it's not personalized message, it's not segmented message. And then keep on, same message. Person who have purchased getting the same message, person who didn't open the same message, and then a person who didn't open for 5-6 times also keep on sending. That's where that killing part needs to come. For that person, what you should do is, after sending 4 times, 4 Tuesdays, what you have to do is on the 5th Tuesday say that seems like you are not interested in Tuesday offers, Tuesday, etc. Blah blah. Creative way of writing. Work with a creative person and write a superb message and then send it out. So the person who didn't open for four continuous Tuesdays, send a personalized creative way to open, make him open, attract, right? Then pass that open person to the next personalized. So that's how this messaging, segmenting and messaging needs to come. I think we can talk about this first party data, how this world's being using. The best international brands, how they use it on email campaign, SMS campaign, WhatsApp campaign. There are other platforms they use, right? And how the first party data is being connected with different advertising platforms and how well they are using it. When you visit a website, how this first party data is being automated and send immediate SMS or WhatsApp messages, emails. And if you are a regular purchase person for a bigger brand like eBay or Amazon or these brands, when you go on add to cart, you can see in a 3 hour there is a reminder, and in a 24 hours there is a reminder. If you see the message that comes in, and then after 48 hours they will tell within 24 hours if you purchase it 10%. These are the tactics on the messaging and how the first party data is being used. These big players never shares first party data with anyone, but they use properly. Just an example how you can utilize this or understand, fine tune your strategies. Look at the big players what they are doing, and then no need to copy, fine tune a strategy and come up with it. So this is all about customer data, first party data, how you can use on 2020. It's not about 2026, maybe 2027 there are different ways that you can use this first party data, but up to some time hopefully these strategies these are the things that you need to look out. And if you guys find any interesting, or if you guys used any other way, that better way using your first party data, leave it on the comment. We like to listen from you guys. And we will catch up again on another performance spot by APIDM.